Let me die, let me drown, lay my bones in the ground. I will still come around when time for sleep is through. Over hill, over dale, through the valley and vale. Do not weep, do not wail, I am coming home to you.
We're back, baby. I was finally able to completely legally download Final Cut Pro, purchase it, you know. So now I can edit videos again, which is very exciting. And today is the introduction of the new cardigan. This thing has been in production for over 1.5 years. So I figure it deserves more than a 6-second video. And I've organized all my thoughts into a handy numbered list. We are currently in part 1, product reveal. Part 2 is the evolution of the design, where it started and where we ended up. For part 3, I want to talk about the making of the design, working with manufacturers, with color books, Pantone codes, all that fun stuff. And part 4 will be a Q&A. I really wanted to have 5 parts, but I couldn't think of another one, so we get 4.
Okay, matched my makeup with my cardigan. Do you like it?
Let's get the good stuff out of the way, product reveal. For today's video, I'm styling it really simply with a cream top, little brown vest. Love these pocket details. So this is the cropped design. I am hoping to have it in a longer version for the actual pre-order. I just haven't received it yet. The main body of the cardigan is a lovely soft vintage orange, olive green, and a sort of mulberry purple. All the colors of the body of the cardigan do show up in other areas of the embroidery. The mulberry sleeve shade in the leaves, some golden wheat, orange of the pumpkin. Of course, we've got vines going everywhere, and a little window at the back. The buttons match the natural colors and are lovely soft wood. The sleeves are super puffy, and one of my favorite details on any of my cardigans, the little teacup pocket. Steam teabag handle. So far, all the cardigans are made with a modal and synthetic blend. I didn't know what modal was until I started working with this manufacturer. Beech tree pulp based fiber. It's anti-pill, it's supposed to have a longer lifespan than cotton. I also personally find it softer than cotton. I get a lot of concerns from people with sensory issues as to whether the texture is scratchy or itchy at all, and I've never had any complaints with the modal. It's also super stretchy, so the sizing is a little bit more flexible than if it were something really stiff. We've done our best to keep the embroidered sections really low profile, not like visually, but like functionally. So instead of having really long stitches that cover a large swath of area, we've tried to tack everything down so it's really tight and you're not going to get any loose thread. However, these are still very intricate designs, and we don't recommend machine washing them. I know that's kind of a hassle. Hand wash is the best way to go. You could also dry clean them, but who's gonna do that? I literally don't even know what dry cleaning is. I don't know. It's cleaning without water, but what does that mean? And I think that just about wraps up the part 1 product reveal. So let's move on to part 2, the evolution of the design. Now this is the section where I'm gonna be revealing myself. Raw, vulnerable, and you're gonna see how bad my early designs really were. Please keep in mind while you watch this, I am very new to the manufacturing world. It was never something I had planned on doing, so this was the first attempt. I will be talking a little bit more about the actual materials that I ended up using and how that affected the design in part 3, which is like making of. But for this, we're only going to talk design. So the origin of this cardigan is that I thought it would be kind of fun to do like a community built garment. I made a bunch of mood boards, posted a whole bunch of polls to Instagram, and created the garments based on the collective votes. So this was the original mood board. And this cardigan actually started as the Kitchen Witchin cardigan. Man, I don't think anyone has seen these. The first, this was the first sort of drawing that I did. Who is this? This is a different lady. I don't know her. She looks cute though. I wanted a sort of light chartreuse center color. I don't know why. Played around with a little jar of pumpkin butter, a spoon, moths. I did the most. I did so much. So that was the original design. It was very exciting. Then I started to work with my actual manufacturer and got sent photos of all the colors they had available. I did not know about sample books. I just had photos. Let me tell you about picking thread colors based on photos. It sucked so hard. So I basically only had photos to reference for my base thread colors. As for the embroidered sections themselves, a lot of manufacturers will ask you for Pantone codes. More on that in part 3. Let's just say I did not know how to get Pantone codes. They're shockingly hard to find and the books are like $600. I was able to send off some Pantone codes and pick some fabric colors, just kind of hope for the best. And the thing that I got back, well, let me show you. What is this? I'm gonna take off the nice one so that we don't hurt her feelings. So this was my original sample. Look at the size of this fucking pumpkin. It is 100% cotton, so it kind of feels like a dishcloth. Nobody needs a pumpkin this big. This is a huge pumpkin. Now, like I said, I was working off of photos of thread color. All right, here we go. I also just want to add quickly, I had to come up with all the measurements for this, which I know sounds like that's what you would expect. I don't know, I just figured that they would know what I wanted. And they didn't. And I had never made a cardigan before, clearly. Like, what in the orange creamsicle is this? I don't know. These shades of green are so bad. Fluorescent? This is like crunchy. We got little stars on the back. So this was the first one. This was the first attempt, y'all. Journey of 1,000 miles, am I right? I forgot about these mushrooms. Look at this. What the fuck is that? What do you think? Do you like it? So clearly I was not stoked on this sample.
Hello, this is Editing Nora. I feel really bad for people who are saying they really like this sweater design. I'm just like shitting all over it here. I just want to clarify something. I don't hate this design in its entirety. I was like very excited to sell it. I just think it lacked focus. I simply had too many ideas. Mushrooms, moss, a moth, branches, a pumpkin, a tea bag, stars. It was just all over the place. I do want to make the Kitchen Witchin' cardigan and do it properly and do it with intention and focus. Kind of ideas from 6 different cardigans that I smushed into one. So that is why I'm being so critical.
But the biggest problem I noticed was the material. Now, I truly do not mind 100% cotton garment, but this, it's not snuggly. And the vision for this, like the #1 inspo word was cozy. It's not cozy. Luckily, when I was sent this, I was also sent some thread books. It's kind of more in part 3, but basically I had the colors in front of me and wasn't picking off of a dimly lit photo, which helps. I also learned about the material modal. So much better. Soft, cozy, snuggly, everything I wanted. We're making the switch, we're making the change. But the main problem switching from cotton to modal, these are the cotton options, and it's double-sided, and these are all the modal options. Actually, there's one more here. But size difference, right? Just once more. As you can tell, there are fewer modal options, so I had to really switch around the colors. Also, I wanted to. This orange is weird, the cream is light, the brown is not brown. It all needed to change, which leads us to version 2. Wow, what a difference. Very hard to get these colors accurate on camera. So this is version 2. So I went a lot darker on the sleeves, a deeper beige on the body itself, and a richer cocoa brown for the collar and the cuffs. I also made it longer, which I don't really remember doing, but I guess I did. The pumpkin, a hell of a lot smaller. Maybe too small. We all agree that this is too big, but this kind of looks pathetic now. I got the shades of green to be slightly better. Mushrooms look a little bit better. Oh, we just got really bright. Overall, this was actually a pretty dramatic improvement, and to be honest, I was like pretty happy with these. The reason I didn't sell this when I first got it was because it was already August, September, and it just felt too late to sell a really autumnal style cardigan. So I decided to wait till 2023, which is now, so we're all caught up. So what happened and why am I not selling this version of the cardigan? Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I improved! I put out the night cardigans, then I put out the forager cardigan. I've also made a ton of other stuff that you guys haven't seen yet. Sneak peek, sneak peek, sneak peek, last sneak peek.
Hey, it's me again. I kind of completely didn't finish that thought, so here are the issues with that design and why I don't really like it as much anymore. It's still too many ideas. While the colors are more vibrant and like richer than the cotton version, I actually think they're less cohesive somehow. The beige body of the cardigan is a really warm, like yellowy undertone beige, but then the cuffs and the collar are a cool toned brown. They're just not in the same color family at all. They just really clash for me. I also think the orange is too dark. It looks like baked pumpkin pie, kind of the vibe, but I think that we wanted something a little bit more vintagey. Now the material and the color of the embroidery improved a lot, so that was getting me really excited with this design. But in hindsight, it's not a cohesive look, and I don't hate it. I just think I can do better.
So now that it's April 2023 and nearing the time when a pre-order actually should start, just decided I could do better. My amazingly talented, kind, beautiful, sweet, lovely assistant Katisha and I worked together on the redesign of this cardigan. I basically gave Katisha free range just to brainstorm on new ideas to revamp the Kitchen Witchin' cardigan. I knew I didn't like it, but I didn't really know why.
I now know why.
Look at what they came up with. New color options. This is amazing. Never leave me. We worked really hard on keeping some of the original elements like the teacup, pumpkin, the moth, and also to add a couple like brand new elements. The scythe, similar but better vines, and the little window on the back.
What is happening to the lighting?
We were fully prepared to do a second sample for this, but when it came in, it was basically perfect. So we had no need. The only adjustment I am now making with my manufacturer is to make a longer version. It is going to be the exact same in every single way, but just, you know, longer. Sometimes you just want something really cozy, and sometimes you want a snatched waist. So why not have both? That basically wraps up part 2, the evolution of the design. Time to talk about part 3, what it's like to work with manufacturers and how the hell you get from a drawing to a final product.
Tongue-tied, I am bound to weave my words.
As someone who has just recently launched into the world of manufacturing, completely blind and ignorant, let me tell you, there is no information out there on how to start manufacturing your own product. Considering the scale of the industry, it is crazy that there doesn't seem to be any info on it. I was really fortunate in that the manufacturer I work with on these cardigans was actually recommended to me by a friend. When I had basically jumped in blind in February of 2021, it went poorly. These are some examples. I didn't know how to draw for embroidery. I didn't know how to design a pattern. I really didn't have a vision at all. And so of course, the product that I got was bizarre and disappointing. It's like any large industry, it has all this vocabulary that you're just kind of expected to know. And you don't know what you don't know until someone asks you. They can respond to your RFQ, or if you know your MOQ, or if you have your Pantone C codes, or if you folks are interested, I would love to do a more in-depth breakdown on how to even start sourcing a manufacturer, what kind of materials you need, what kind of questions they'll ask. I think it would be a bit too much to get into for this video, but I'm gonna give you the brief overview. So like I said, it all starts with a drawing. Ding! The number one tip I have if you're starting manufacturing is to ask your manufacturer for thread books. It will be expensive. The books themselves aren't expensive, but the shipping is probably something like 70 to 100 US dollars. But it's worth it. Having the actual color books on hand to be able to compare different shades, how they go together, invaluable. It's so important. This is the Modal sample book that we chose these colors from. Katisha and I were so dedicated to making sure that the colors went together, we took them off. We just cut them out. In order to hold one color up to another and make sure that they looked good, we just sliced up the Modal book. And you know, it was worth it because look how good these colors are. When the first sample came in, I got the cotton thread book. I decided to switch to Modal and so got sent the Modal book. The translations on these, this says fight against the ball. I agree. When the first Modal sample came in, it also came with the thread book. This is like if newspaper were about colors. As you can see, all of these are thread colors. They don't send this out to just anyone. You gotta mean business. I think you kind of have to be working with the manufacturer for a little bit before they send you this because clearly it's big and expensive. But that, for me, was a total game changer, especially for a design like this, which has a lot of colors layered on top of each other. The night cardigans were easier because really there's only like 5 or 6 colors. So having the floss book and the base threads book was amazingly helpful. I could make sure that the embroidery details would look good not only next to each other, but also on top of the actual base fabric color. The one thing you gotta know about manufacturing is that the sample costs are very high. I'm talking a couple $100 for just one sample. This does vary a lot based on your manufacturer, but they do have to custom design the whole garment, source the fabric, source the buttons, turn your drawing into an embroidery file, make a pattern for the garment itself, and pay everyone fairly. There is also a pretty high risk that if you don't end up buying hundreds and hundreds of these garments, they've wasted all that time. So the initial cost of a garment is quite high, but then some manufacturers will offer to refund part of your sample cost if you place a really large order and hit their MOQ, which is their minimum order quantity. As you would imagine, there's a lot of acronyms. FAQ, MOQ, BBQ, and all the rest. We were really, really lucky in that when this sample came in, there were basically no changes that needed to be made. I was not expecting this, but I was really hoping for this. I think because we've made this sweater so many times now, and we had the big mama with us, it was a lot easier to dedicate time to picking the right shades and the right colors, and knowing how to design specifically for the cardigan. That's how we got this beautiful little guy. I could honestly make an hour-long video about manufacturing, where to find the manufacturer, how to contact them, what kind of accounts you need in order to pay them, what shipping looks like, what turnaround time looks like. It's just a lot. So that might have to be a different video. Let me know if you want to hear it though. And with that, we're on to part 4, the Q&A.
With thistle down, sickle moon on the moor.
I asked over on my Instagram for some questions, so I'm going to answer them now. Library of Zerb has asked, how do I find a manufacturer with the quality that I like? So I've kind of answered this a little bit. I found this manufacturer through a recommendation from a friend, which is amazing, but that's kind of rare and not very helpful. So you can put out an RFQ, a request for quote, on a site like Alibaba or another manufacturing service. If you do want to manufacture locally, I don't have any advice because I don't live where you live probably. So one way you can find out about quality from manufacturers is to ask for examples of their previous work. I know it's still photos and videos, but it can be pretty helpful. Also trying to find a manufacturer that has pretty good ratings, good reviews is also really helpful. Asking about what materials they offer, what kind of thread colors they have pattern customization, do they have button customization, just trying to see what is available available from them, and unfortunately, the only way to really tell is to get a sample. Most manufacturers will be happy to send you a sample of certain fabric, thread, or material. You do have to pay shipping, but it is better to spend $50 on a small sample than $250 on a garment that you don't end up using. Mushy Moth asked, how long does it take to finalize the design? Broadly, this question has no answer. The night cardigan design was basically the same from start to finish. I had a vision and I've stuck with it. But as you can see, this design, along with the forager design, went through many evolutions. I don't work on these cardigans constantly for like a year and a half or anything, but sitting with them, thinking about them, styling them, becoming a better artist, becoming more comfortable, having more resources, all of these things contribute to how long the final product took. Bonbon13 asked, how do I decide what goes onto the cardigan? I don't care if it's cheesy, mood boards are my very best friend. I love them. It really helps me organize my inspiration, different aesthetics, different feelings I want to evoke, and have them all in one place. It's like a charcuterie of inspiration. And then you can also see what colors and themes are repeating themselves, and then take those and try and work them onto your garment. For this specific design, cozy, pumpkin pie, gourmand, sunny afternoon, and for this version we wanted something a bit witchier, darker, more like dusk in autumn and October night rather than like a cozy sunny September day. Asked if I'm going to be offering it in long and short. I am. I hope I am. I think I am. That's the goal. The Unglam Divaco says, how do I know what will translate best onto different projects? I don't know. I'm still very new to this. Do a lot of mock-ups that end up nowhere. I will say that even if you don't end up using an idea, it's not a wasted idea. The mossy details and mushrooms that I put on this design actually ended up on the forager design. I didn't feel like it fit that cardigan very well, but I totally feel like it matches here. Look at these little guys sitting on their mossy hill. Alex Austin Small says, will I ever make a lilac design? I do have an amethyst sort of inspired like elven knight that I might release one day. It's in very early stages, so don't hold your breath. And my last question is from my mother, who says, is it true your mother is your biggest fan? And I think I'm gonna have to say yes on this one because she's asked this question every time I post a Q&A. So thanks, Mom. I think we're done. I think that's it. I think we're done. I hope that you guys love the new design as much as I do. The cardigans will be available for pre-order from April 21st until May 1st. There will be a little discount code if you sign up for the newsletter below. I don't send them often and I make them really cute. Look how cute these past ones were. The reason I am doing an autumnal cardigan pre-order in April and May is so you can get them by August and wear them for September, October.
That's the big brain thinking right there, okay? I'll be like, that one's just for you.
I have nothing else to say. Shockingly, that's a first. I hope you guys enjoyed the reveal of the new cardigan, and I will see you on April 21st. Thank you, bye!
Turns thistle down silver and finger